Hello and welcome to the A&P. I am Alex Johansen and my co-host Patrick McCallum. Patrick,
Hello, everyone. How are you getting on?
we're having logical discussions about the state of the world. Let's get into it, brother.
Hey, Patrick.
How are you getting, buddy? So, what have you for me today?
The cost of immigration across the G20 countries with your friend, Stephen
Oh,
Crowder.
Stephen Crowder. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
he's got some good facts, figures, and things like that to show the cost of immigration and what it is costing the homogenous societies in which it sits. So we'll go ahead and let him cook a little bit, and we'll get on this.
To start off, that illegal aliens cost American taxpayers, you, the American worker, $151 billion to $450 billion per year. I've hammered this point because back when I did a Change My Mind on Build the Wall, it was $116 billion, and that was kind of up for debate. The low end is $151 billion, up to $450 billion. Let's split it, $350, $400 billion. Okay. Here's the thing. That's in the United States.
That is wildly expensive. That's a lot. Our debt's in the trillions, though, and it just keeps rolling up, right?
Yeah, I was about to say, you have a massive debt-income ratio at the moment. This definitely does not help it.
No. And then they over their lifetime tend to cost more and more and more money, especially those that start out without working and they're on social welfare programs and they just keep taking from the society.
Yeah, we're finding that issue across our countries at the moment, especially in Ireland and the UK. Because we have very similar, as I told you before, very similar social welfare type systems. It costs us a lot of money every year.
The left is going to try and gaslight you. Check the references. Don't allow them to do it. These numbers, though, are very, very consistent across the Western world. And,
as Patrick just said.
And I also want to point out some trends because I think a lot of people are maybe a little afraid to address this, but it's something that we all know. So Western nations, across the world, some East Asian ones too, they're now seeing the real-time effects. While representatives tell you that this is simply racism to notice them, real-time effects of unchecked and orchestrated immigration.
Immediate dead.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that is the Venezuelan gangs in Colorado right there. We saw that before.
Wow.
Yeah, so they
What's this about?
All right, so in Colorado, there were Venezuelan gangs that were taking over entire apartment complexes, and the local constituencies, city governments were saying, well, it's just a little bit of the city that they've taken over. It's only these little places. Well, if you give someone a stronghold, right, they were showing up with AKs and pistols and all kinds of things and clearing out entire apartment complexes to move Venezuelan gang members into the area. Right.
And what would happen if the person in this apartment decided to fight back and stand their ground, I presume?
They killed them.
What would happen?
They killed them.
What would happen then? Yeah.
Then local law enforcement may or may not be called. And if they show up, they just don't go in because it functionally becomes a no-go zone. And you don't have enough backup to ensure the safety of the officers who are called to the call.
Wow.
Yeah. Not great. Not great.
No.
Evidence of a little bit of a deterioration in society, I would say. So, here we go.
That's a friend of the show, Brianna Morello. Followed by a creep. And then you don't see it. She pulls a gun out. Yeah, no.
Allegedly. National inquiry. Keir Starmer did not want.
Tabloid Rand Paul.
Just stabbing the police officer.
Yep.
I believe he died. They died.
Felix.
So that one before was that incident in Florida where a individual who was issued a commercial driver's license in the state of California executed an illegal U-turn, and a van following killed the two passengers inside.
Yeah, I read that case. Very, very tragic.
Well, it's caused a lot of stuff with the Secretary of Transportation in the United States removing funds and all kinds of aid that goes to the state of California.
Yeah, just like closing the barn door after horses bolted. Really,
right. So, and we were actually watching TK's Garage earlier, and he was talking about federal funds that are used for certain kind of checks on commercial vehicles in the state of California. they have stopped giving them the money for that. So the CHP can no longer man those positions or those posts because they were supported by the federal government.
Rojas was taken into custody last night. The 44-year-old is accused of having sexual contact with an unresponsive man aboard an R train.
Now, I know that you'll say, well, those are anecdotes, right? That's just sort of these headlines that you see, right?
The thing with that, it's an indication that everything, well, many things are outside of what's appropriate activity. It violates social mores.
Yeah.
So it's outside the Overton window, right? Normally,
Yes, we understand.
in civil
Yeah,
society,
but
these things would be addressed way more quickly. And there's a lot of shame involved in those things that would have an effect on the entire population decision to participate in any kinds of those activities.
Yeah, but as I say, when you're bringing people from outside of the developed world into our society, they come with an awful lot of baggage from their world. Stuff that we would, as you say, be outside our societal norms is quite acceptable in their society.
Right. Human life isn't as precious in those places.
Oh no!
It's
No,
disposable.
it's not. No, it's
And
not.
it's a lot of present, no tomorrow. There isn't a tomorrow.
Yeah. No, everything's from day to day. No, there's no planning for the future, as one other gentleman was pointing out in a different report.
Right. Well, we need to get to a place where we can get a draw where people are going to pay us to be there. Also, transportation in this world now is so easy. You can get to places like California or Ireland within days from anywhere in the world, pretty much. And then once you get there, you dig in like a tick, and then it's almost impossible to get you out, especially when you have governments that support that kind of thing by being less than genuine with their populace and saying, we're going to bring in great people. And then you look at where they're taking the people from, and it's not a good deal based on their cultural norms.
I remember our government saying to us that, oh, these are all doctors and nurses. Yeah, and there's none of them are doctors and nurses. There's not one of them is doctors or nurses. This is not happening.
And we're looking at the immigration of Somalis in the UK with your buddies, the Lotus Eaters. And they said 1 in 10 of them have full-time work. A small percentage of them have part-time work, but at least 70% of them are unemployed when they get there, and they never get a job while they're there.
They never get a job. And not only do the initial group not get a job, but their kids don't get a job. Right. There's a massive generational drain on the system.
That's going to have to be fixed. And if Keir Starmer doesn't get himself together, it's going to be curtains for that guy too.
When it comes to the UK, I just don't blame Starmer. I blame the previous governments as well. This has been building up in the UK and Ireland for many, many years.
Oh, for
long
sure.
Before our present governments,
Well, and then the Brexit thing is screwing Ireland because the immigrants get from France to or some UK. Other country in Western Europe.
Yeah, they get from France to UK. Then UK sends them down through Northern Ireland. We all know this.
Quite a trail that ends in unhappiness for the folks under the tricolor, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I understand that. But if you're going to make that argument, wouldn't we also have to agree that those on the left telling you that actually immigrants make our nations great, we are a nation of immigrants, actually they're a net positive, that when they make these statements, they're usually making them from a place of anecdotal evidence, or some might refer to them as lies as well?
Immigrants have done so much for America.
Immigrants make our country better.
We respect the beautiful diversity of America, how we respect the fact that immigration is the constant reinvigoration of America.
Immigrants own small businesses. They till the land. They care for children and the elderly. They work in our labs, attend our universities, and serve in our military.
Canada's biggest cities are still welcoming the most immigrants, newcomers giving the labor force a boost as the country overall keeps.
We just talked about that. They don't give the labor force a boost at all. That's not what's happening. You have people who are coming in illegally, they're not assimilating, and they're taking from the system.
It was probably true many years ago. When our countries, a lot of countries, when we had immigration years ago, there was so much of a percentage every year. And yes, did they contribute in? Yes. They helped our nations build and so on. But now we're having a different wave of immigration in, where they're not contributing to society.
There's no nationalistic zeal. The societies are less homogenously whatever the size society was. Canadian, North American, United States, Ireland, Germany,
But you have to remember,
UK.
Our G20 countries have changed over the last number of decades. They've gone from heavy industry and building and so on to more knowledge-based economies, So we don't need that many unskilled workers anymore.
Right. We don't need the hands. We need the brains.
We need, yes, exactly. And that's the problem. We still have this massive numbers now of immigration who are really unskilled coming into our country looking for skilled workers. So they're going to be stuck there. We're stuck looking after them. They're stuck in their situation. And it's not a good situation for anybody involved. It's not good for any country.
Well, it's functionally unsafe as well because they don't have anything to do and they're just out roaming your town all day during the day. That's not going to do great things, right?
No, it's not.
And we end up in things like in Dublin where there is a horrific event and then not only regular types are going out to protest, but then you have travelers, you have other people who are also drains on society saying,
you have other people protesting. Right. As I said, 99% of people who genuinely protest in Ireland are non-violent. Okay, in every protest, you're always going to get that half-heads, and no matter where you go. But what the government doesn't seem to realise, a lot of normal protests I've seen over the last couple of years in Ireland, vast majority of people marching are non-violent on both sides of the aisle. But the government are not addressing the elephant in the room. This whole mass immigration project is not working out for anyone involved. It's not working out for the people of the land, like ourselves. It's not working out for the immigrants either, because they're getting stuck in this cycle of constantly being on benefits they can't seem to break out of.
I was in Sacramento County the other day, heading in some direction or another, and we saw people going to a peaceful protest, but they had their signs on baseball bats. And I was like, you're indicating that you want to be peaceful, but you'll go ahead and, have something that can deal out lethal force in your hand. Like that.
Yes,
right?
that's
I want your signs, even if they're pre-made, to be on little sticks. So the only thing you can really take out is a vampire if you get them right in the heart with a stake, right? I don't want you bringing baseball bats to the party, right? That's that's a boot party. You're looking to knock somebody down and kick them out.
To be honest, they're the type of protesters that want to have trouble. They're going there saying, "Oh, we're peaceful," but why, as you said, bring a baseball bat to a peaceful protest?
It doesn't make any sense at all. All right, let's
They're also the first people who get upset when the police, react.
Right. Hey, this is, although it's a legal assembly, you have lethal weapons in your hands. You're going to have to not do that. Right?
Yeah, not have those. Yes.
That's not really appropriate for the peaceful protest. Right? I don't care if you're loud. Bring a megaphone, whatever. Don't bring baseball bats. Yeah, it's like bringing a chainsaw to tea. Like, that's not the right thing to do.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Keeps aging.
A path toward citizenship for all of the 11 million who are undocumented. That is what the people of our country want.
There was actually a thing passed where you don't say undocumented anymore because that's not what it is, right? It's not undocumented. You are an illegal alien. And there's an administrative immigration court that deals with that. So when you say undocumented, that's like, oh man, hey, I forgot my driver's license at the house. Oops, sorry. Yeah. No, you were here illegally. You violated 18 USC. You need to go. Or is it 8 USC?
Yes.
It's one of those two. Yeah, it's crazy. Hey, there's your girl right there. There's your girl.
Okay.
They're in Brussels.
Oh, that's that's 2021. Just to clarify that for people.
Unity in diversity. In just 3 words, they summed up our union's raison d'être.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And here's the thing: how can you have unity with someone who doesn't share anything in common with you? It can happen, but
that seems like a fairly reasonable point. If someone does not have your values, will fail to get your values, will be a drain on your society, and isn't choosing a better path. Remember we talked the other day about the Somali who knifed the other kid to death, right? Who had been here 6 years and did not learn English. That seems a little strange. It seems as if you don't particularly want to assimilate. And then you commit some felonious activity, and then you're confused about why people are unhappy. Why are these people unhappy? He says to his interpreter, well, you committed murder. It's a bit of a felony. You killed a fella. You've been here 3 days and you decided he didn't need to live anymore. All right.
General rule. In your interpersonal relationships, are you closest with people who don't share your values, who don't share the same language, who have no connection to your culture, who might as well be from another planet? Are those your best interpersonal relationships? Then why do we think we would function as a society. This, and I'm glad that we've sort of moved past this. The left screamed racism so much that it's lost on me. The boy who cried racism. We now see the results are in.
Yeah, it's the whitewashing of language. It's the same thing when you call people a Nazi or a fascist. If you keep doing that, and it's obvious that that's not what's happening, someone has an opinion counter to yours. I don't believe the thing you believe. It doesn't mean that they're a bad person, but we can't even have the discussion because the words don't mean anything anymore.
They don't. They're sticks and stones. What did I say long ago? Sticks and stones.
But words have hurt because so many people have been canceled and lost their careers and their lives and their ability to do anything. And in that, the process becomes the punishment.
There's a punishment, and a very nasty culture that was fermented in the last couple of years, where no matter what you said, no matter how reasonable you tried to be, you were labeled either left or right. No matter how, there was no center ground.
Right. Well, an individual will make a statement. It doesn't matter what the statement is, right? So the statement is X, and someone says, your X is wrong because you're a racist. And then conversation immediately turns to you defending yourself from some wild accusation as opposed to them dealing with a concept. There's no way to have a productive conversation like that. And then it becomes a non-religious, religious fervor to say, well, you're so wrong. There's nothing you can say that's going to have any effect, either positive or negative. And everything you say is in fact negative.
It's like what happened to, say, Denmark, for instance. Everyone used that. That's one of the recent countries that did a very deep study into this. And they changed their laws, very strict immigration laws now in Denmark. And by the way, by a very left-leaning government, so before anyone says anything, which kind of broke the mold in Europe, because left-leaning governments typically in Europe don't bring in strict immigration laws. Because they would know, they did a proper study to see how true to any of these allegations, and they found that, like what the UK is finding at the moment with Somalis, that most people coming in were draining their system and so on.
Right.
They brought in very strict immigration laws where you have to be working in Denmark a constant of 8 years. I've not drawn in 8 years from the state. And then you can apply for citizenship with a full test on language and so on. And everyone's saying, oh, that's very unreasonable. No, that's pretty standard. That should be a pretty standard immigration law across all of the Eurozone.
Right. Well, and the other thing that does is it gives them 32 quarters of work, right? So a lot of times labor is based on quarters of work. So 90-day periods, right? And the United States does this a lot, right? So you have to have 40 quarters of work to get benefits from state and federal type programs, right? So you functionally have to put a decade of work in, right, to reap the benefits, right? But other countries like Sweden are having the same kind of issue. Sweden has massive no-go zones where there's Sharia law being practiced, and those who are homogeneously Swedish are literally not allowed in those spaces, because if they do, they'll just get killed or they'll be beaten and thrown out of the area.
Yeah, I remember when we were thinking about doing a video for that, and I looked into those. One, there was, like in the UK, yes, is there no-go areas? Yeah, there's massive crime, like in most modern countries.
Like Portland.
The Sharia law, by the way, the Sharia law headline was a kind of a nutting burger, is the best word I could describe that one.
Right, but the thing is they have mosques in those areas with imams who are.
They have mosques, but don't get me wrong. They're of course, what they say, the religion of peace. But
well, it's peace through submission to Allah, and then submission to both the Quran and the Hadith, which subrogates the Hadith subrogates the Quran for some of the more pleasant things in the Quran. Like if you're of the book, you have to pay the jizya, which is like a protection tax. But if you're an atheist, kill you. Right. Yeah. But if you were Islamic and you said, "Nah, I don't want to be in that faith anymore," kill you. Done. That's a wrap. Yeah. Like you don't get to do that.
Yeah, it was. That's why always struck me is when any time there's a pushback on immigration in any of our countries, the left will come out waving certain types of flags. And I said to one young man one time, if you wave that flag in any Islamic country, it would not end well for you.
But you take a flying lesson off the nearest high building.
And they're in time after time after time. Of course, you can't have unity with enforced, with orchestrated diversity. It's not possible.
No, it's not.
Right, that's the multiculturalism experiment gone way too far. So when you bring in massive sections of people into places, you water down the culture that's there, and then there ends up being an awkward culture war in the space. And then it just like a cancer goes everywhere in the body politic. It's just not a healthy thing. For people who don't want to assimilate and are not going to assimilate, you don't get to have any kind of unity. You don't want to break bread with them. You don't want to talk with them. You don't want to interact with them. You don't want to go where they go, be where they are, or even service them in society. You just don't. And when the government forces that on the people, they get a giant case of the red ass. They're like, we didn't vote for this. The UK didn't vote for this. Spain didn't vote for this. Italy, Ireland, the United States, Canada. We didn't vote. In fact, we've been staunchly against unregulated immigration for decades. We don't want it. And that's left, right, and everybody.
Yeah, because we know the experiment is not working. We just know it.
Yeah, well, it's a failed experiment.
The biggest thing that's always thrown on our face over here in Ireland is because so many of us immigrated abroad that we should be welcome to immigrants in. The difference is when we went abroad as Irish, we assimilated into whatever country we went to and worked damn hard in those countries.
Oh, for sure.
That was a big difference with us and the new way of immigration into our country and every other country.
Those that are coming in now don't want to contribute. They just want to get their draw. And then they want to pass that down to their kids. And what it ends up costing is some insane amount of money. He's going to bring up some graphs here shortly, and you'll see that the numbers are definitely bad.
Possible. And if you don't have common ground, like a common culture, values to pull from, sometimes like a common enemy can bring people together. Here's the only problem. They view us as the enemy.
Yes, that's a very good point.
We don't have a common enemy. You don't have anything to fight together to.
The big one there is values, right? You were talking about how if everybody's in a present day, today is today, I do the thing, tomorrow doesn't happen until tomorrow happens. I'm not building for a future. Like that lack of value of wanting to push forward to create a better society in general is just lacking. Like they just don't care, right? And
there's no forward planning, because I think a lot of people don't realize where these people come from. There is no planning for the future from where they come from. It is surviving from day to day, week to week. They don't see a future as such. That's just where they come from. That's their culture.
Well, and you've said it before. They don't have any drive to do that anyway. They just don't.
They can just go down to the local post office every week, get money, go down to local council, get a house.
Right, and those houses are taken from the citizens of that country, Irish citizens, British citizens, American citizens. It's bad. It's functionally. Have you heard of an expression called eminent domain?
Yes. Yeah.
So I'll explain it for the people. So eminent domain is when the government says we're going to need your property for a public work of some sort.
Yeah.
So they go
public
in.
Good and so on.
Right.
Yeah.
And they offer you a fair market value. They're supposed to anyway. And they say, hey, we need this because we're going to build a city square, or we need to build more highway or whatever. Right. So in our planning for our area, forward thinking stuff, we need the space to do the thing. In Ireland, they're just taking Irish houses. In the United States, they're taking, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What normally happens over here, is when Ukrainian war kicked off, and we housed in so far over 100,000 Ukrainians. Well, we found it very difficult to house the same number of Irish in the housing waiting list.
That seems strange, right? So why aren't the Irish taking precedence? It's like in the United States, we have veterans of foreign wars, veterans of service to our country, and we can't seem to get them the appropriate resources. But if somebody illegally comes into the country, they can get a driver's license, they can get registered to vote even though they're not supposed to, and they can get social welfare of all kinds, Section 8 housing, they can get SNAP or EBT, and they can get EBT cash, which is we just give you cash on a card, and there's no shame in it. They're just here for the draw. They just want the free shit. And like you were saying in Denmark, if you make people, if you encourage them with consequences to work for 8 years and take a language test, then those people will assimilate. They'll be forced to, or they'll have to go.
It's very straightforward. It's not a rocket science to put the system into place.
It doesn't seem like it would be difficult, since that's what the constituency of all these places is asking for. We want you to regulate the immigration. It's reasonable. Yeah. Borders represent a difference in culture. When someone comes from a foreign country, such as Somalia, and you notice that their numbers are 1 in 10 will work, that means 90% of them are not contributing, but the 10% that are working from that section of the world are not going to support the other 90%. It's going to be a giant net drain on your society. And we just keep throwing more money at it. And with inflation the way it is, it's just going to make all of our monies, euros, the British pound, the American dollar, just less and less.
And I think that's the sad thing about an awful lot of people on the left, is they don't seem to realize the economic costs or the social costs that this experiment is costing everyone.
Yeah, it is definitely a net negative on culture and on money. Here we go.
Bring us closer together. You just want to fight us.
Yeah.
And destroy our culture.
That's true. Well, certainly people who want to establish a foreign caliphate.
Yes.
And then you have people coming from third world countries who very often harbor anti-American sentiment. And the thought is, well, at least we can go to the United States and fleece them and take advantage of the country. So here's a study that's going viral right now. It's not a new study.
So yeah, they come in, they take the resources, and then there isn't any way to recoup the cost. There isn't any way to do it. So when it's a net negative like that, it doesn't bode well for that country.
No, it doesn't.
But people are becoming aware of it. It comes from the Netherlands, and it went through the financial contributions of immigrants. Okay, so what are the results? Well, spoiler alert, Western and East Asian immigrants, mainly places like Japan, Taiwan, Korea.
All right, so let's look at the left side of this. So when these people get to these countries, what do you say, the Netherlands, right?
Yeah, this is the study I was on about, by the way.
Right, okay. So North America, you net $573,000 into the coffers of your nation. 557 for Scandinavia, Oceania. That's like south of Japan and the island area there. Japan 525, UK 481. Now here's the cost for those who come from Somalia. 1.1 million per individual. This is every person who comes from that place is a net loss to your society of 1.1 million. The next one that's bad on that list is Central North Africa, 700, Sub-Saharan Africa, 730, Caribbean, 675, Middle East, 624, Latin America, 271. There are going to be more of the red ones than the green ones. And that's, because they can get north. And again, it has to do with how easy it is to get to places now, right? Before, like we'll take California as an example. Before the 1870s, it was very, very hard to get there. From the time Sir Francis Drake visited to the 1870s, it was horrible. Before the Intercontinental Railroad got in there, California was the land of milk and honey. Some Spanish were there. There was some wild stuff went on in California.
Yeah,
but
because it was pretty much a Spanish colony.
Colony,
I wouldn't say colony, but those people living there from Spain,
Right. But the thing is, it was the land of milk and honey. It was hard to get to, beautiful weather, amazing geography, some of the best place in the world to grow things, the last place functionally discovered in our westward migration across. So it was remote. It was very, very hard to get to. You can get from anywhere in the world to California in 72 hours. You can get from anywhere in the world to Ireland in 2-3 days.
Less really, to be honest.
Right. But the thing is, they have to get out of their country in the first place, right? And there isn't restricted travel out of Somalia. If you can get out, get out. If you've got to walk out, you walk out. Eritrea and the Democratic Republic of Congo, you can get out of these places and go to all these other places in the world. When it was hard to get there, it was easier to regulate the immigration. But now, since they can move so quickly from one place to another, when they get in there, they just dig in like ticks. It is well nigh impossible to get them out. And when you say, no, it's a good thing for all these bad and or negative outcomes, you have to say you're lying to me. You are not telling me the truth. You said we were getting doctors and nurses and all these big brains from these countries, when what we're getting is unskilled workers that are such a massive drain on society, and they destroy the unity of the place that we are, that it is unhealthy for our society. It is it's an invasion. It is absolutely an invasion.
Yes, as I say, you can see here by this report. And by the way, this report was done by a left-wing government before anyone says anything.
Oh, they're going to want to. We're going to get that screaming guy in the comments again. Oh, don't sit down and have a pint with. No, come on. Like this is legit. This is a left-wing government that really wanted this multicultural experiment to work. And it is shown.
No, I think I've been to the Netherlands and so on, and trust me, they're very logical people. Left or right, they're very logical. So they just did a logical thing, like, let's do a logical report and see if there's any truth to these rumors.
Right.
And this was the report.
Oh, guess what? It's not good. Here we go.
They contribute. Other groups of people, pretty much everybody else, does not. They take and they don't give back. So let me give you some examples. Please check the references. Here are some examples for you. As far as lifetime contributions. So the groups that make positive contributions to the country where they immigrate to. So North American immigrants, 203,000 euros over their lifetime to 521,000. Scandinavian, 208,000 to 506,000 euros. Japanese, 194,000 to 477,000. Korea, Taiwan, Singapore, about 14,000 to 39,000 over their lifetime. The only immigrants from anywhere in that region of the world, Israeli, 58,000 to 121,000. This is the net positive, what they contribute, and just to break that down, that means they come to a country, they pay taxes, they contribute, they work, right? They have purchasing power that they do. They largely exercise it on the books.
Mm-hmm. So that means that they improve the GDP, the gross domestic product of the country in which they emigrate to. So those are the 5 or 6 that in the world, if they come to your place, cool. They will assimilate. They will try to get along. They will do the best they can. They'll do the best they can not to go outside the Overton window and violate the social mores. They'll be enthusiastic about being there. They will contribute in a positive way to the society. We're about to get to the other list. What you're going to see is at least 2 times in the other direction. And they're at least 3 or 4 times more likely to emigrate to your area than are the ones who are going to positively contribute, because the ones that are positively contributing are already positively contributing to the societies in which they already reside.
Yeah,
right?
so very rarely they would leave the country, as you say, where they come from, unless it's for a specific job or a specific purpose.
Like they take tradesmen out of Ireland to go work in other places because they're hardworking. They know their job. They know their thing. They get hired to do a job, and then they go back to Ireland when they're done. They're like, oh, cool. Like your buddy that worked in Africa. You get hired to go down there, do work, get done with his work, go home. Contributed positively on both ends.
He's working for one of the top industries in the world, the oil industry.
Right. Petroleum's a bit important to the function of society. I get you.
No, he opened. I think he opened quite a lot of people's eyes, the same gentleman, into. I say he's not left or he's not right. He's a realist because he's been around the world. As they say, he's been to a lot of these parts of the world that the left love to embrace, but they don't quite understand mentality of this world.
Well, here's the deal. It's like befriending someone that if you turn on your back on some of these people, they will just kill you to take your wallet. Right? It's that kind of thought process. Like, well, he's got money in his wallet, so when he's not looking, I'm just gonna, stick this thing in his kidney and take what he's got. And if he lives or dies, I don't care. But if he lives, I'll just take his wallet in a few months when he comes out of hospital, right? So
pretty much
it's that kind of mindset.
He's tried educating young people, especially when they're on about this and they're on about that. He says, I've been to this part of the world. I've been to sub-Saharan Africa. I've been all over most of Africa, African continent. And he will tell you there are some really decent guys, and men and women, but the vast majority of them are really low-educated guys who will, as he said, knife you for a $5.
Yeah, pretty much. You got a sawbuck, I want it. I will
life
take
is
it
very,
from
very
you.
cheap in a lot of these parts of the world. He said that. Very cheap.
Right. And if you're carrying a banner or a flag for them and you don't understand what they're about, then you're misleading everyone around you. You're creating an awkward echo chamber of, I think a thing is right, without having done any kind of research at all.
And when young people kind of push back saying, oh, you got over there okay. He said, I got over there okay because 1, I work for the oil company. 2, I had armed security with me from the government. The oil industry and the government were hand in hand.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So no one, he said, I was the safest person in the whole continent.
Right. Because I'm a subject matter expert. I'm working on a project both the government and private industry want, and it's advancing petroleum, which is the biggest thing on the planet because everything has petroleum in it. Everything runs on dinosaur juice. It's just the way that it is. Right. So if it's not nuclear, it's dinosaur juice, and you need dinosaur juice to make nuclear too. So get over it. And if you understand that a nuclear power plant is functionally just a steam engine writ large, then you'll get a better concept of it. That's really what it is. It's just a big, giant steam engine. It gives lots of power. I got a funny story on that for you later. You'll like it. So here we go.
Okay. Please check those numbers. Here are the groups of people who are a net negative. Anyone want to guess? Pause it. Don't cheat. Comment below. Who's coming from India?
No.
Net negative 27 to 56,000 over their lifetime, meaning they take from the taxpayer. People coming from China, Mongolia, North Korea, net negative. They take 47 to 84,000. These numbers are in euros. From Afghanistan, Iran, Syria, and Iraq, negative 418,000 to 637,000 euros over their lifetime.
Wow.
Those from the Horn of Africa, Somalia, Sudan.
Cradle of civilization.
Yeah, still looks like the cradle. 606,000 to 1.14 million euros.
Remember, it's not just that immigrant and with whomever he's making or she is making children with. It is also their children.
Yes.
So that's 1.14 million for the father of the child, for the mother of the child, and then every child that they generate after that.
And they have large families, by the way. People seem to have really large families.
Yeah. So
as you know,
we're
birth
looking,
control is not a thing.
Right. So per family, $10-12 million per family. So every family that you see in their lifetime is costing 10 to whatever millions of dollars on your economy over time. Over time. They're not taking it all right now, but they will end up before they pass onto their great reward. That much out of the coffers, the public coffers. So all of the people who work in the society are contributing the money they contribute, but it's just being washed away. It's just being flushed right down the jakes. Gone.
Yeah.
They take over the course of their lifetime from the taxpayer.
Wow.
So on the positive, you have North American, you have Scandinavian, Japanese, you have Korean, Taiwan, you have Israeli. And on the net negative, anyone surprised that it's India, China, Afghanistan, Iran, Syria, Iraq, Somalia, Sudan? Are you seeing a common thread here? I don't think that this surprises anybody, especially with Japan, because they are a country with a culture that is largely known for its work ethic.
So we just have to ensure that the value system that the people have that come here is aligned with ours, right? We got to somehow ensure that that happens. And I think the program of Denmark having 8 years of work is a perfect way to do that. If you contribute to the GDP, sweet, good. You're assimilating. It's awesome.
Yeah, there has to be some sort of new system put in place across all our countries, because the present system is being completely milked dry.
Oh, it's being exploited, right? They're just extracting resources, and that's not appropriate, right?
No. All
right, let's get back to
Yeah, look. And to those of you saying, hey, Japanese fortune cookie is Chinese, granted, that one may have been racist.
Hey, they did it first.
Yeah,
is what I heard.
heard.
That's a traditional Japanese rice patty hat, too.
And this is why, by the way, we're so grateful for Rumble. Once upon a time, you would not be able to discuss this on YouTube. We've had videos removed, entire episodes suspended. So please, the best way to stay in touch, download the Rumble app. It's great on mobile. You can listen to it. You can.
Just so everybody knows, we're on Rumble too.
Yes, we're actually on Rumble.
We're actually on Rumble. I think we don't lean far enough in one direction for that, but I just want to make sure that our listeners know that if you want to listen to us on Rumble,
Rumble is definitely a magical adventure if you ever go onto that website.
Well, and once we get more traction, we can actually have more controversial type things over there on Rumble, which will be good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
specifically Rumble exclusive, you could say.
right, we'll have Rumble exclusive stuff, but that's because the algorithm here and the things that you're allowed to say, we do have to water down a little bit, but on Rumble, you can get a little bit wilder, right? Eventually, I'm sure it'll get regulated too, but right now, that's the Wild West out there. And
big time.
So, all right, so here we get on back to it.
You can listen to audio while not playing the video, locking your phone. And, follow me there. Follow me on the Rumble app.
You can follow Stephen Crowder and the A&P gents over there.
Streams, but you won't be flooded with a bunch of crap you don't want. Let's dig a little deeper here in these studies. So, generally speaking, the more Protestant or Protestant adjacent the immigrant, the more likely they are to contribute. So if you compare, for example, like to Protestant Europeans, most other groups, they contribute quite a bit less. So like African Islamic, net negative of 296,000 euros. Orthodox, net negative 134,000 euros. Catholic Europeans, in comparison to Protestant Europeans, net negative 85,000 euros. Confucian Asia, it's sort of an outlier because it depends on the region. China's a big country. Net positive, I believe, about 30,000.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, this is not to take a dump at all on Catholics or Orthodox. It's that a lot of people who come from Catholicism, they come from countries where it's maybe a state-enforced denomination. For example, that was the case where I was raised in Quebec. Orthodox, you're going to have a lot of lazy Greeks. And then you will also have, a lot of, by the way, Armenians who have been actual refugees. Like, they were genocided before it was cool.
Right.
That's actually the case. So a lot of Armenian immigration to the G20s was because they were being genocided, like killed everywhere they went.
Yeah.
Right.
There were,
So that if somebody's coming to my country because genocide is being committed upon them, I can see a way where we, as a good people would want to help them. But the thing is, when they get here, they're going to want to assimilate. You took us in when other people wouldn't because we were being killed in mass, but you're willing to help us? Oh, yeah. Yeah, we will assimilate. We will work hard. We will do the best we can to be a part of this society in a positive way, to show our appreciation for you taking us in when you didn't have to. We're a guest in your home. We will treat it with the respect it deserves. And I think I don't want someone in my home that's going to disrespect my home, like I don't want somebody in my city, county, state, or country that isn't going to at least make a genuine effort, an attempt to be a part of solutions as opposed to part of problems.
Yes, you want people to integrate. Yeah, you want people to integrate quickly, efficiently, and get on with their lives. You just don't want to be constantly hand-holding either.
Well, the enthusiasm for being a part of the new culture is important as well. If you come here and you're functionally an enemy of the state, and as an enemy of the state, you say, look, I will just extract resources. It makes them less able to function and fight off the infection, right? That's what that is functionally. Just weakens the body politic to the point where it becomes non-functional. And then there's no more draw. There's no more money. There's no more anything.
I don't think they quite realize that. I don't think they think that far ahead. They don't realize that the more you're drawn out of our systems, the more our systems will not be there for us in the future.
Correct. For your children. Like, you're not thinking about your own children by not being a part of the solution. So here we go.
I've been dealing with people who try to wipe them out quite a bit. So also, it tends to lend itself to respecting authority a little more than the basis of Protestantism.
Right. A little bit of culture. I love the next point is that basically when you account for education, it actually minimizes some of the differences in all of these categories, except for Islamic categories.
Except for African Islam.
It just sucks. I'm sorry. It's just not a contributor.
Across the board,
everywhere,
Islamic and particularly African Islamic immigrants are a net drain on society, big time.
We were talking about that before. When you have people with appropriate education, it doesn't particularly matter where they're from because they have a concept of future. And when with a concept of future, right, they've had to toil, they've had to work in the field of the mind to make themselves better. And in making themselves better, they become more conscious of a future that affects not just themselves, but everyone. Right?
As I say, education is never a burden. It's an old saying. And it also broadens your horizons. The sad thing is a lot of these people are not educated. And I do have a lot of sympathy for people genuinely fleeing war. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, for sure. That's why you have 100,000 Ukrainians in Ireland.
Yes. I can understand the good intentions behind this. But we also have to realize that the pie is only so big and we can only hold so much.
And those good intentions, like you told me before, pave the way to hell.
Yeah.
Just being nice for nice's sake without ensuring the safety of your people, it's a very bad idea. And it functionally causes a gentle invasion, which is still at the end of the day an invasion.
And we're seeing how it's working out. We have headline after headline after headline in all our countries at the moment.
Yeah, it's not great. Here we go.
No.
Best case scenario, you're looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars over the lifetime.
Yes.
So let's just say you were an autistic alien who literally was colorblind, and you're beep, 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 going through numbers, right? And you had to balance the budget. You would look at this, and without realizing it, you would eliminate immigration from Islamic countries in Africa. You would eliminate it.
Yeah.
Right, because that would be what would be best for demographically your financial position. That would be, you would just do that. If you didn't look at the origin of it, as far as whatever other thing affected, just that if X individual comes from Y place, they're always a net negative, or as a group, they're such a net negative that we allow none of them in. Mathematically, that's the appropriate approach, right?
But it's strange how it doesn't work the other way. Say if we're immigrating within our own countries, say if you went from California over to Texas, for example,
Mhm.
You couldn't draw social welfare in Texas.
No, I
No,
couldn't.
because even though you're both from the United States, same as if I left Ireland. We have a by the way, what most people don't realize, if I leave Ireland for more than 2 years and say if I decide to emigrate back into my home country, I'm not allowed to draw any social welfare for 6 months whatsoever.
Right.
Even though I'm an Irish citizen with an Irish passport.
Okay. That's pretty significant, right? Because they're saying,
Yes.
well, you left.
Yeah.
Come on back now. But you can't get any social welfare access for 6 months. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. But if I flew in from, say, as he was saying, from different parts of the world, no problem at all.
Yeah, here you go. Here's some free money. Go down to the post office.
Yeah.
Go to the post.
Yeah.
Get your thing. It's for Frizzle. We're going to pay for you now. What the hell?
Yeah.
What the hell? I don't make no damn sense.
I had recently enough, I had to get every now and then you have different forms stamped in different state offices. And I went down to the local social welfare office. And it happened to be on the same day where everyone queues up to sign on and whatever else.
Right, to get their cash, to get their money from the government. Yeah.
There was myself and another guy were the only 2 Irish people.
Getting your government
in
cheese.
that queue.
Yeah.
in that queue. And we're just literally going and get our form sent and move on and post it off to relevant state bodies. And so, while it's like, holy, wow. It was eye-opening, I'll put that way too.
Well, what that looks like is Irish citizens are literally paying for something they don't want to have. They're being forced to give money to people they don't want there, right? For the system to not effectively get them through the system. No assimilation, just here's money while we try and think about it, right? Because we're trying to be so gentle and soft. Sometimes gentle and soft isn't the right answer. I'm not fomenting an insurrection. What I'm saying is that as a people, we should say, hey, this is a financial negative. It doesn't do good things for our country. Not
financially, as I said, we're walking a bit of a tightrope here. But what I'm saying is, as I have to be really careful with my words. That's the funny thing about living where I'm living at the moment. You have to be really careful with our words, which is a shame, but it is what it is. So what I'm saying overall is, people from certain parts of the world are not going to benefit my society or any Western society at this stage. It's not working out.
And
well.
the numbers support it specifically. Now let's get
And
back to. Go ahead.
And even if we use these numbers to make a logical argument, we still be nailed to the cross. That's the sad thing about it.
Well, yeah, that's strange. Like, here is evidentiary value for the thing I'm telling you is true, except now you can't say a thing that is true, right? That means that your ability to even manipulate concepts and have a discussion about it, the discussion can't be had. You can't say, this is bad. Let me show you the evidence. They're like, I don't care if there's evidence. I'm right. Right? Again, non-religious, religious fervor for something that they have not even researched. They're just like, I know it's right because I just know things. You don't get to just know things and tell me that you're right. Right? If you don't bring the receipts, you didn't buy the bike or whatever, right? You didn't do the thing, right? You're making claims that are falsifiable immediately. When I falsify them, you tell me I'm wrong. That's not how that should work. So, all right, here we go.
Yes. It'd be gone. And this is across the board. Well, why do you think that is? It's 2025 there too. And here's the thing. If you look at this, people who come to the West for labor, they tend to contribute a net positive. Right? They tend to be a net contributor depending on the region. So if you look at North America, you look at East Asia, you look at people who are families immigrating, and this is kind of a tough, it's a bitter pill to swallow because we have a heart for, these families are leaving these crap hole countries, and you're not supposed to say crap hole, but also say you have to take everyone from the crap holes because our heart goes out to them. People who are seeking asylum, pretty much always massive drains on Western society. Almost invariably. Let's go to some other case studies. References available. Case study number 1, Somalis in the UK. So let me give you some numbers here too, not just the financial numbers. But this is why you're seeing backlash, as the left might refer to it. I would just say sort of returning to our roots of having some kind of standardized immigration, having expectations of...
Expectations are very important. You should have an expectation that someone comes to your country, they will want to assimilate and be a part of that culture.
Exactly. And what Stephen Crowder is going to show here is the figures that were coming out of the UK.
Yeah, and
Where
it's
only 1 in 10. It's crazy figures.
right. It's unimaginable why we would even consider doing this. It seems just so unsafe, right?
People who want, if you want to get into a really cool party, do you think it's too much to ask that you dress decently, that you show up groomed, right? That you're in other words, it's a closed door party. Usually you have to meet some requirements, some
Right. There's a standard you have to maintain to even get into the thing in the first place.
expectations. This is the greatest country in the world. And even though I think Europe is largely, at this point, it's largely comprised of faggots, but it's still better than Somalia. It's still better than Zambia. It's
That's why people come this way and they don't go the other way.
still better than Syria. If you want to go there, why is it such a problem to meet some expectations? Let's look at this case study, Somalis in the UK. Guess what percentage of Somalis in the UK are proficient in English, meaning can actually operate in the UK?
English in England?
8%.
Ooh.
Man. You know what I call that? Entitlement.
That's horrible. That is bad.
Yeah.
Oh my
This
God.
is birmingham.gov.uk report, so they cannot say it's not official. Yeah, I've seen this report. It's a damning indictment across the UK. And by the way, our own governments in Ireland has yet to do any of these type of reports.
Right. Well, so look at the qualifications. Purple box right side. Okay, I'm going to read it out. According to the Home Office, 64% of Somali refugees had low-level English language skills at the time of their asylum decision in the UK. With this likely hindering their ability to find employment, 28% had medium fluency, which means it's going to be difficult to understand them, and you're probably not going to want to interact with them after a while because they just don't speak your language. And culturally, they're going to use the wrong kinds of idioms and expressions. And 8% had high proficiency, right? Home Office statistics found employment rates increased over time, with 20% of the refugees finding employment 8 months after the asylum decision, 28% being in employment after 15 months, and 39% in employment after 21 months. But that's just the numbers you can see. That doesn't account for those that you didn't count because they got there illegally. This is just for the ones that are doing it correctly, right?
Exactly.
So
and that's the most important point to make.
Right. So that 8% is of the ones they know, which means based on how the immigration is going there and you don't see them, that number's got to be less than 3%. Got to be less than 3%, right? Just statistically based on numbers of those things that you cannot know, right? The unknown as far as who is in your country, right? So that means that their ability to effectively communicate at under 5% of their people is going to mean that over 95% of them are not going to choose to assimilate, and they're all going to cost you 1.1 million euros, 1.1 million pounds per individual. That's wild.
And by the way, I think this is a good point to make. See these reports? Is the UK are making the UK government made these reports? Even though it comes from their own agencies, they still watch over them.
Right. They're not taking into account at least a percentage of those people we know are there, but we can't account for them because they failed in their charge of protecting the people of their country, their constituency, and British culture as a whole. That's unacceptable behavior for the government to partake in.
Yeah, but I see here in Ireland, the sad thing is we don't even have these types of reports are done, or very rarely done, or they're out of date, because our government is still waving the banner, everything is grand, everything is good, they're net positive, blah, blah, blah. It's not, look, these are the figures. These are figures from other European partners. Let's look at the Netherlands. They're part of the Eurozone. Look at their reports. No matter what we say or do, say in Ireland specifically, or what you say to any government minister in Ireland, they'll still try to spin these reports as some kind of right-wing conspiracy. It's crazy.
Well, it doesn't make sense. Ireland is not exempt from being part of the European Union when it comes to these kinds of statistics. Yeah, these statistics run across, and you're in an even worse position because of Brexit. The UK just kicks them into Northern Ireland, and then they just drive south, and then you are awash in just disgusting cultural habits that you don't want in your space. We keep going over story after story. County Dublin, County Cork, right? Like, it's just bad around the big cities. Cork City, the city of Dublin, like, it's not great. And for some reason, the councils and the TDs just can't seem to fix themselves. And we talked about it before. It seems like most of your Dáil are landlords, and they're just reaping massive rewards. Massive rewards, right?
But it's not just that either. They seem very left-leaning as well. I know when I say left-leaning, it's very, very left. And it's like no one... I even noticed the other day Sinn Féin stood up in front of Dáil talking about City West. And other government ministers stood up and talked about City West. And they're all talking about the failure of our Child Protection Service.
Yeah, TUSLA.
But not talking about the fact that it should have been a failure, not just on that specific department. It should be also a failure on the Department of Justice, that the guy was still in the country 9 months after being told to get out.
Yeah, we did the math. It was about a year. The Somali
roughly a year. Yeah,
that killed the kid from Kiev. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. The man who did in City West, who did the horrific act on that young child.
Right. 10-year-old girl. Yeah. Unacceptable.
Every minister, because I was watching it live in Dáil stood up, including the opposition, by the way, stood up, criticised TUSLA, left, right, and centre. No one talked about the Department of Justice, the fact that this guy was still in our country 9 months. If he was picked up by the Immigration Service and escorted out of Ireland, this wouldn't have never have happened.
Yeah, he would not have had access to someone where TUSLA fails, and then the Department of Justice fails. Your asylee system, the IPAS system fails. Everything fails, and we're just going to say that the 10-year-old that got away from TUSLA is functionally making TUSLA at fault when there were so many other factors involved.
So many other state bodies at fault as well.
Right.
I think that this is a good point, as they say, where we'll draw a line in this episode.
All right. Well, we can go ahead and get on into our next week's stuff here shortly. So for Patrick McCallum, I am Alex Johansen. Ring the bell, subscribe, give us a comment, let us know what you think. Help us beat the algorithm. We are out.